Should I be scared? I don't know if I should be scared or liberate myself from the fear. Today I want to talk about a topic that is rather heavy. Usually they say fear doesn't serve a purpose, or rather people are afraid of the emotion of fear. What am I talking about? I am talking about our parents, and disclaimer, this is going to be a bit of a heavier topic. So we're going to be delving into the topic of grief, of death. So if that's an area that you don't really want to hear about, feel free to hop onto one of my other videos. But I think this is a really important conversation that often impacts our wellness when we move to a different city and decide to stay far away from our loved ones. Now, I uploaded a video the other day on TikTok and it's gotten quite a couple of comments. And the video is basically about all the things that you don't realize that you are missing out on when you move to the UK, or you're kind of giving up when you move to the UK. And one of the things that I spoke about was parents and the fact that we have less and less time to spend with them. And the comments that I've read, and I'll try and put some on the screen. Some of the comments that I've read have left me with such a heavy heart. People saying they got to the UK or they moved to the UK and within 9 months their mother passed away, or they moved to the UK and they lost both their parents within the same year, or they have been living in the UK for a while and suddenly out of the blue someone that they loved passed away. And so that's left me with quite a heavy heart and something that's impacting my personal wellness right now, and it probably impacts a lot of you guys. So I figured let me make this episode 2 of the wellness edition. So before we delve into the heavy topics, hello, my name is Sibu and welcome to the channel if you are new here. This is the wellness edition of Life in Manchester, and on this segment of this channel I speak about the topics that impact our wellness as people who have moved from other cities or other countries into Manchester or into the UK. This is our second episode, so if you haven't caught up on that one, please go ahead and watch that video first, where I talk about finances and how finance, as well as black tax and all the things that take up our budget, put strain on our wellness. So go catch up on that. Today I'm having a green tea. On this channel we love a hot drink. I'm having a green tea with lemon, which I haven't made as yet. So let me make that and then let's hop into this topic because I think it's really important. It smells a bit like mad lemon. On the topic of our parents and wellness, and it's not just our parents, to be honest, I think the heaviness of leaving your parents behind, and you don't really see it. Well, let me say I didn't realize how much of an impact it would have over time. When you leave your home country and you move to the UK, you often are so set in like what's coming ahead, what you need to plan for, all the things that you're kind of like going towards rather than leaving behind. And you have an assumption that things will always be as you leave them. Like your parents' home will always be your parents' home. In December, you'll go home and you'll visit them and they'll still be well. But over the years, something that I've realized, and it was actually the 1 year that I went back home, and I looked at my parents, and in my head, I always joke about this. My mother, in my head, is still 32 to me. And I know she's much older than me, obviously, because now I'm more than 32 years old. But in my head, like my mom is 32 and she'll always be 32. She's just a girl. But that specific year, when I went home, I saw that she was aging. Her body looked different. Her facial features, like she was starting to have wrinkles. She looked different, man. She looked different, and it actually occurred to me for once that, hey, this woman is going to leave one day. And it gets me a bit emotional because just the thought of losing my mom, my goodness, it makes me so scared. It makes me so scared to the bottom of my stomach. And the same with my dad. Like, my dad has been, oh, excuse me, let me pause and I'll get back to this video. I didn't realize how heavy that is. And it makes me realize that I need to do this video even more, because if I feel like this about it, it means that it's an important topic. It's a topic that needs to be tackled. So yes, I did warn you that this is going to be a rather heavy one. But in the past couple of months, I've been faced with the reality that my parents are not going to live forever. And my spending time in the UK, even though it's a choice, like, I'm well aware that by moving to a different country, it's making a actual conscious choice. Like, no one is forcing you to be here. In actual fact, you can go, you have free will to go back to your home country. And for myself, I chose it twice. Like, I left home twice. So it's even more glaring that, like, hello, you can go home at any given point and, like, just go and choose to be happy with your loved ones. But obviously, in my other videos, we've spoken about, like, the whole vision and the plan and what we all have planned for our lives. And our decisions shouldn't be driven by fear. And so it gets me back to the topic of our parents are going to leave us one day. And all those comments made me realize that we are all going to go through it at some point. There's someone that I knew when I was much younger, and they said to me, and they were noticing my interactions with my family and how I carried myself around them. And they said to me, do you know what? You still have a very big debt to the world. And they said it in isiZulu, which in direct translation, it was usaneskweletu, like usaneskweletu esikhulu emhlabeni. And I didn't understand it at the time. I mean, they spoke about it in large detail, but now that I'm much older and I've kind of seen the world, I realized what they meant. He was talking about the fact that I still owe the world grief. And that's the grief that you go through when you lose something that you love. And in my personal experience, I've never lost someone very close to me. I've lost kind of distant family members or extended family, and it's been a painful grief process. But as of late, and then I've also gone or experienced grief through, like, the loss of love and the pain of realizing that something that, or someone that you loved, has been stripped away from you, or you can no longer like experience what you experienced with them. So I kind of have an experience, or like a lens of what grief looks like, but that's very limited. That grief, I think, is very limited. This of losing parents, my goodness, like, it is so heavy. And over the past couple of months, I've been shocked, and I've come to the realization that life is very short. And my father, who is like my biggest cheerleader, my pillar of strength, like, when I look at both my parents, I was raised by both of my parents in the same household, which I'm very privileged. And I look at the role that my mom played and the role that my father played. My father was very protective of us, and still is. And when I think about, like, him and how I always see him as kind of my pillar of strength, one person that I can rely on for resilience, the fact that he will one day leave me and I have less time with him, woo, it's heavy. It is so heavy. And so I wanted to get into the topic of, like, should we be scared, or should we just live our lives and pretend that it's not happening? because that doesn't seem to be a plan. So yeah, I can't say I have the solutions for this one, but I'll share with you a couple of things that I think have helped me. One is the UK gets really busy. Work takes up a lot of your time and it takes up a lot of your mental capacity. And the one thing that is really important to do is to keep contact with your family, to prioritize calling them. Something that I used to do a long time ago is think that work is more important than my family. No, it is not. Call your family, like fit it in, call them in between things, call them during your lunch break. I know like sometimes you think like you'll have another time, send them a random text, like keep the relationship going and alive, because time is going. Whether you plan on being in the UK for a short time or a long time, that time, it's going, it's ticking. And we have limited time with our loved ones and our parents. So yeah, my encouragement is just spend time with your parents in any small way. Gift them things that they love. Like, I know my mom like loves money. My mom loves money. My dad loves conversation. Like, he just loves anything to do with politics, with economics, with my work. He's very interested in my career. So just apportioning time to spend with your loved ones, making sure that like you're prioritizing their health and their wellness and checking up on them and just loving on them, being irritating when you need to be, spending time. I know some people don't like this, like have a call and leave them there, cook your dinner, have them chat in the background, make it feel like you're a part of their lives, because these are the moments that will stay in your memory. And then secondly, as when you can go home and be with your family. Again, one of the things that I used to do when I thought I had lots of time was to go home and be doing everything else except sitting with my mom. Like now, I just want to sit with both my parents and just hear about their stories. Like just hear what they got up to while I wasn't around. Yeah, and like the things that they have been experiencing, their worries, their concerns, massage them. My parents love a good massage randomly, which is weird, but yeah, just like if your parents love something, give them that thing as much as you can. When you're frustrated by them, talk about things up front, have the difficult conversations, love on them as much as you possibly can, because these are the moments that you'll treasure forever. And if you have grandkids that haven't met your parents, make sure that those kids get an opportunity to see their parents, and even better, to sit with their parents, their grandparents, and to experience them fully, not just for a couple of days, to have an actual relationship with them. Like if I think about my I love my grandparents, and if you can, spend time with them. And I know that I'm very focused on parents right now, and I think it's because it's the one that has been in my mind a lot, but also siblings, also friends that are not in the UK. Attribute time for them. I think the emphasis of this video, there's not much else except prioritize the people that you love. Put them at the forefront of your mind. Be considerate of them, love them, have a grace for them. I know that like a lot of things can create distance because we are living in different lives. Like they are kind of having different challenges at home versus you. But I would say whatever it is, put it on the side and prioritize loving your loved ones. And then when it comes to your mental health and trying to not panic about the topic, I think it's just identifying that there are certain things that you can control and there are certain things that you can't control. The timeline of someone's life is not something that you can control. the wellness of your parents is not something that you can control. And you can do your best to take care of them, to love them, but ultimately, it's not in your control. Other practical tips: if you really feel like you want extended periods of time with your parents, there is flexibility in some employment with being able to work from home and for a couple of weeks being able to just spend time with them, even if it's outside of your holiday, work from home, experience them just being around you and be a child again. Yeah, I really encourage you to do that. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap this episode up. This is the second episode of the Wellness Edition in Manchester. And the next episode, we will be talking about relationships. Oh my goodness. Relationships, what I've learned, how relationships can impact your mental health and wellness, and all things related to relationships, and potentially internet dating. I might touch on that topic. But yeah, let's catch up in the next one. My name is Sibu, and this is the Wellness Edition of Life in Manchester, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.